let's start things back over to the battle royal.
Let's get into it, man. Yeah, because as the tag team kind of slappy of our team, I was really geeked about where this was going. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen a tag team battle royal before. There's lots of times we even on Dynamite Download here, we put together a tag team tournament. And, that's more of a traditional way of determining who your number one contender is. I thought this was a nice, fresh take, especially hot off the heels of what we talked about. I mean, hot off the heels of Royal Rumble weekend, kept a lot of fans interested. And obviously, there were a lot of storylines that played out in this one, right, SPD? I mean, FTR got cut before they could even get into this one. Probably, I mean, to me, my favorites to win the whole thing and to be the number one contenders, they were eliminated before the match even started. This match had a lot of storylines weaving in and out, and I think that some of Dynamite Download favorites had a real showcase. I mean, we talked to John Silver just last night, and I felt like the Dark Order had a nice showing tonight. I know that SPD, you're a diehard Luchasaurus fanboy.
Yeah, he looked awesome.
Absolute star tonight. What was your take on this one coming out? Obviously, when you have this many men in the ring, there's going to be a lot of action. So I'm going to throw it over to you. Give us your take, SPD. This an elite or delete, and give us your rundown on what made this match so special.
This is it delivered with, like you said, so many different storylines. To start things off, I was kind of debating back in my head, like what's going to start the show, and this is a perfect way to start the show. And then I was also thinking, what entrances are they going to feature? And of course, what's been stuck in my head since last week, Jungle Boy entrance. So Jungle Boy's entrance, which I expected us to hear because, it's starting to become a huge fan favorite of, across the board. And then it gets followed up with Judas, which unfortunately it got cut very short. There was no sing along with Judas. The Acclaimed interrupted them. Which we'll see next week, Acclaimed versus Jericho and MJF. So there's kind of rhyme for a reason for all that, which is nice to kind of tie it all in together. But the match itself, they really, announcers did a great job saying how Inner Circle has 3 members, Dark Order has 2 members. That's half of the 10 teams right there. I loved how the Young Bucks came out full throttle and they were just, come out swinging and kicking and the whole time. It was so nice to see Silver have a great showing as well. Like we said, we just talked to him yesterday. If you haven't seen the interview, make sure to check it out on our YouTube page. And he eliminated Hager, and then he eliminated Luchasaurus, which to me was a very impressive. He was clearing the ring, the choke slams, all the flips and all that. And then you had, like you said, so many stories with this. MJF and Chris Jericho taunting the Young Bucks with the double bicep pose. The crowd was singing Tarzan Boy. It was, and then you have the turmoil with the Inner Circle, which we saw later on. So this definitely was an elite start to the night for sure for me. How could it not? I mean, with that much star power, that much, wow factor going on. I loved it. I thought it was a great start for me.
Yeah. I mean, I can't, the amount of episodes where we've started this show at Dynamite Download, and we've talked about how excited I am anytime the AEW starts a show with the tag division or with the Young Bucks in particular. But anytime that they do that, it always feels like the show is going to be off to a hot start. You know what I mean? Like the tag division of AEW is so special and so action-packed, so jam-packed. There were so many teams that were in this battle royal, but as a fan of the division, there were so many teams that didn't even make the cut, right?
That's true. A lot.
So I loved how they showcased how deep the division was. I thought that played really, really well tonight. I also felt like you mentioned, SPD, the storylines being interwoven throughout this. It shows AEW's attention to detail. They're focused on really interweaving multiple stories, multiple characters with each other. Really like where they're going with that. Some of the standouts to me, obviously Johnny Hungy eliminating Hager and Luchasaurus. Obviously,
the 2 biggest men in the match.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to point out. Right? Is the meat man really delivered. When you talk about how Luchasaurus in particular had quite an impressive showing in this one, for John Silver to come out and eliminate the two big men, I think that was a nice feather in the cap for the Dark Order. Big fan of that. Dark Order looked really great in this one. I thought Stu Grayson was kind of one of the undervalued or underappreciated members of this battle royal. He was all over the place. Um, Obviously, to me, I'm going to focus in on the winners.
Yeah.
You and I both love highlighting whenever the inner circle comes out on top. We are fans of the inner circle here at Dynamite Download. And yes, the writing is on the wall that group is breaking apart. But I cannot wait to see what MJF and Jericho have in store for us. Can you imagine the build and the match that these guys are going to have with the Young Bucks? I'm geeked about what's in store. And you and I have also talked about, right? The Young Bucks have had a lot of times in their career here in the AEW where their moral compass has been kind of jaded, right? Are they good guys? Are they bad guys? That type of thing. There's going to be no doubt who the good guys are in this one. I think that MJF and Jericho are going to make that very, very clear very early on. We're going to get firmly behind the Young Bucks, which is very important given their bigger story with Kenny and the Good Brothers. So establishing the Young Bucks against a clear, definitive heel team is going to go a long way in the long-term storytelling that AEW is trying to play.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, this planted a lot of seeds for where the inner circle goes going forward. We saw that in a later on segment. And I think that leads to great television. You put MJF and Jericho, SPD, you've been saying it from the minute we started Dynamite Download. Jericho is pure gold anytime he's on the screen. And quite frankly, even though MJF has been a critic of ours at times with talking smack to us, we believe that this young man, this young star, truly walks the walk. He delivers anytime he's on screen.
He absolutely does, and he's going to continue to deliver on screen. And we'll dive into that promo that was cut later on. But here's our endorsement. If you don't know the endorsement from MJF calling us the drizzling shits. And so overall, I mean, it seems to me like this is an elite match out of you for sure.
No doubt. You have a tag match and Crayfish is going to be dialed in, but you throw this much talent in the ring together. I feel like, I could spend a half an hour just on this match, honest to God. And the build up and the star power in this one. I talked about this before too, watching Dark the night before. The Acclaimed really, they're starting to win me over, brother.
Okay.
We've been critics of not necessarily critics, but we've been, we had a hard time seeing where the Acclaim were going. They burst onto the scene, very quickly, had a match with the Young Bucks without a lot of backstory to it. And now that they've had a little bit of time to breathe, and now that we've had a little bit of time to get to know their characters, get to know where they're coming from, hear a little bit more about their rap gimmick, I'm starting to come around, brother. That their single that they dropped on Dark, they killed it. That they absolutely killed it. I think that the Acclaimed going against MJF and Jericho is going to be a heck of a match, not only from an in-ring perspective, but I think that the entertainment value that's going to have. I hope that we get to see some interaction on Twitter and social media leading into that match. When you put MJF and Max Caster, those types of personalities opposed from each other, I have a feeling that we as fans are going to get a real treat. Really love where that's going. And I think that the AEW tag team division is primed to take off. Obviously, they have great leadership with the Young Bucks as the tag champs. But when you have a legend like Jericho and truly, I believe, the most bankable young star in all of wrestling, and I don't say that lightly, but the most bankable star in all of wrestling with MJF. I think that this match at Revolution could truly be kind of a dark horse for to stealing the show. And we say that all
Wow.
the time on AEW. This match could steal the show, or that match could steal the show.
Yep.
Really excited about where this is going to go. And I think the ambiguity about what the result could be, about what could happen at the fallout of that match, keeps me as a fan eating those breadcrumbs, brother, following that trail. I want to see where it goes.
Yeah. Speaking of, man, you're on fire with the MJF, man, because he's a fire-filled talent, and the sky is the limit with him. You know, like we said, you can talk the talk and walk the walk.
No doubt.